What you're going to need are 2 boxes of H9 Red Hot in L'Oreal High Color. Not L'Oreal High Color highlights, it comes with the tube and then a separate little thing that holds the red in it. Next you need 2 boxes of H11 Intense Red in the same brand. You'll also need a plastic bag or a shower cap and some developer. This is a 30 volume developer in L'Oreal and this is the 20 volume. If you're going to use the same developer as me, make sure you get the cream. Now I'm refreshing my reds, so I dilute my developer with a little bit of conditioner. Obviously you're going to need a brush and a bowl to mix things in, along with gloves and a few measuring cups to measure your developer and everything. I use Vaseline to protect my skin, hair ties, and some towels to protect the bathroom, and then afterwards I use a conditioning treatment. Make sure you have a shirt and some pants that you don't really care about. Now depending on how much hair you have, you're going to want to separate it into sections with not too much hair in them. Now for each box of dye you're going to measure 2.5 fluid ounces of developer, and I'm doing that 2 times 2 times. So 2.5 times 2, I'm going to be doing 5 fluid ounces, and then I'm adding 2 fluid ounces of conditioner. If you're a mess like I am, I would definitely recommend applying Vaseline all over your face, around your ears and your neck, especially if you have long hair like me. It just kind of prevents your skin from getting dyed. Now moving on to the dye, I'm taking the tubes and trying to squeeze as much as I can out of it. So I just kind of roll the tube down as if you would with toothpaste maybe. With these red intensifiers, make sure that you're careful and you have gloves on. They'll stain you like crazy. They're very pigmented and they're what makes your hair red, so be careful. Make sure you're spraying them really close to the mixture so that they don't spray out when they're almost empty, because they tend to do that. And then when mixing your hair dye, be patient and make sure the consistency is really even, because red hair dye tends to be a little bit more on the chunky side. Now that it's time to dye my hair, I always start off with my roots. I always have, even when I first dyed my hair this color. And I take a generous amount of hair, because if I took tiny pieces, I would be there for an eternity. And then once my roots are fully covered, I start going down the strand of hair and I kind of lay it out on my hand so that I can see all of the hair and make sure that it's all covered completely. Also, don't forget to use your hands and feel to make sure that your hair is completely covered with the hair dye. The last thing you want are random dark spots or random faded spots of the color that you had before. Just feel around and make sure you pay attention to how much is on your hair and how much isn't and whatnot. Just a quick tip, when painting the dye onto your hair, I like to go in zigzag, like X motions, to spread out the hair while I'm dyeing it rather than just an up and down regular painting motion.
Now after being done with both sections of my hair, I'm going to be out of dye and I'm going to have to use the next two boxes. I'm just going to do the same measurements as I did before, 5 fluid ounces of the developer and 2 fluid ounces of the conditioner, and then I'm doing the same with the dye. Now, when I dye the top part of my head, I do it a little bit different. I separate it down the middle, and then on each side I separate it into 2 sections, and then I kind of outline my roots just to make it a little bit more organized. I don't know, I feel like that's what works best for me. And then I take strands from the back all the way to the front part of my head. That way when I'm finished, it'll be all slicked back and it just comes out neater. Now usually I'll have a little bit of dye left over and I'll just take it into my hands and apply it throughout my hair. Now I'm taking the plastic bag and I'm wrapping it around my head. I use 2 because it helps hold the heat a little bit better. Yes, I recorded myself rinsing my hair out. I rinse my hair out in the shower, obviously, and if you're going to do this, please make sure that the walls are wet beforehand, because if you get dye on it, it will dye the wall. Now I take my shampoo and I shampoo my hair. I focus a lot of it on my scalp because I have dye on it, and that's the last thing you need. Is 1, you'll have a pink scalp, and 2, it's just not good for it, obviously. So make sure you get that all off, and then I kind of work it down the rest of my hair.